everybody. I'm Diane Hall with AARP Missouri, and I'd like to welcome you to Flexibility and Function. This is the third class of our 8-week series, and it is created and led by Tyler Ferguson. Now, if this is your first time in this class, our aim is for all of us to gain flexibility and have fun doing it. These gains that we're going to help you make will take work, and Tyler's going to take us through all that in a minute. You may think this isn't a real workout, but this kind of movement and flexibility is something that enhances your functionality and will contribute to the success of other physical activities that you take on. Sometimes, and Tyler has taught me this, a slow and controlled movement is more challenging and beneficial than a really fast one. Now, AARP Missouri believes that offering classes like these gives people and more people chances to participate. Though we have in-person things like walk with the doc and hikes and bike rides, however, a virtual class may be more convenient for some of you. If you're a caregiver, for instance, or if, like it here is in Kansas City, it's kind of a cruddy day, you may want to do it online. You also may be watching this later on YouTube to suit your schedule. Whatever works for you so that you can participate when it's convenient for you. That's what we're going for. So however and whyever you participate, we are glad to have you, and we hope that it helps you in your commitment to healthy, active living. This is a great foundational class, but you can find many of our previous fitness classes on Missouri's YouTube channel at youtube.com/c/AARPMO, and I'll put that in the chat here in a minute. This class is suitable for many levels of fitness. However, you know yourself and your own limitations, so please, please, please do not try to go beyond what you know is right for you. If you have any concerns, check with your doctor before participating in this or any other AARP fitness offering. Now, in addition to our online fitness classes, AARP has resources for caregivers, up-to-date COVID-19 information, information on home modification, technology, information. We have a virtual community center, all kinds of activities. So you can find any of our upcoming activities on our website at aarp.org/nearyou. We have lots of activities going on and volunteer opportunities to make a difference in your life or your community. There are options to volunteer virtually or in person. You can volunteer regularly or just once in a while. So please check our website at aarp.org/Missouri to find out more. Next week, we're going to skip because a lot of people may be traveling for the different holidays that are around this time of year. So December 26th, we will not have a class. So now I'm going to turn it over to our instructor, Tyler Ferguson. Tyler, let the fun begin.
Thank you, Diane. Hi, everybody. Good morning. If this is your first time in a class with me, you'll know, or you'll find out now, that I love to train barefoot. So if barefoot is comfortable for you, removing your socks and your shoes. I don't like keeping the socks on for warm feet because it can create a slippery surface, and I feel like that's unsafe. If there's a reason you need to keep your shoes on, feel free to do so. But working barefoot allows the skin on the bottom of our feet to communicate with our brain and tell our brain where our body is in space, which helps with our balance and our proprioception. So come to standing, face forward, and you can look at previous classes for me to unpack your posture for your work today. For now, I'm just going to have you bring your toes forward. If you feel a little unstable, you can hold on to the back of a chair or a wall, or simply widen your stance a little bit. The wider your base, the more stable you're going to feel. But if you're comfortable coming about shoulders distance apart in your feet, do so. And today we're going to start with our shoulder. So take your arms away from your body so they're not touching the body, and the backs of your hands are forward. Now going all the way up the arm, can you spin your palms forward, but can you feel it up in your shoulder? So in other words, let me show this again. I can just move at the wrist and there's not a lot happening at the shoulder. But I want to get my shoulder involved, so I might lift a little and externally rotate and get that skin on the back side of my body forward. So just try that a couple times. Slight lift, big external rotation, and then push the shoulder down again on your external rotation. Make sure you breathe while you're doing this work. As you focus and pay attention, sometimes you hold your breath. And if you're locking out your knees right now, soften them. Okay. So final time, big external rotation, Feel that's going to help you contract your lat muscle a little bit better. From here, drive your fingers down to the floor, then start to bring your arms up and keep reaching your fingers towards opposite walls, and then keep rotating your thumbs back as much as you can tolerate in that external rotation. If you have any shoulder injuries, you might stay right here, or if this feels safe, reach your arms up overhead. I'll just show you what it looks like. And then pause, turn your palms to the opposite walls and start to push your arms back down. Like you're moving through clay or sand. Pause right here with me in the letter Y. Bend your knuckles and bring them to your ears. Push through your palms and then bring your arms down. So you're stretching, you're extending. You're going to feel sensation in your forearms, in your wrists, in your hands. Bam. That's a lot of work right there. Shake it out. We'll do it 2 more times. External rotation at the shoulder. Inhale, sweep your arms up. Keep rotating thumbs back as much as you can tolerate. Fingertips come to the ceiling if that's comfortable. Palms push away. Start to push down like you're working through clay. Draw the knuckles back, pushing through the palms of your hands, getting that nice extension, maybe it's flexion in your wrist. Third and final time, a little bit quicker. Reach, stretch, lengthen. If you do anything in class today, maybe come out of class feeling 1/8 of an inch or 1/4 of an inch taller. All right. So that's always my goal. I want you to feel a little bit longer, a little bit taller. Yep. Shake with me. You should feel a lot going on in here after that. Let me make something really clear. I want you to feel a lot, but I don't want you to feel any pain. All right. Sensation, slight discomfort, okay. Sharp pains, no. If you have to hold your breath or inhale deeply, that's not where we want to be today. Okay. Again, careful with shoulder injuries, but assuming shoulders are okay and you can reach overhead, we're going to do this. It is common that reaching overhead is not good for some of you. You're working with an injury. You're just going to reach across your body. All right. So don't move into pain. I'm not asking you to do that. I'm asking you to meet you where you are. If you don't feel any pain reaching overhead, go ahead and do that. Now, we've done this the previous weeks in a static version. This is just a little bit more dynamic version. We're just trying to stretch this tissue in our torso and get a little flexion, sideways flexion in the spine. Last time. Now we're going to make it static. Bring your hands across your chest. No. Bring your thumbs to your ribs and your pinkies to the top of your pelvis. This is one of our tricks for standing tall, having good posture. Create space between the ribs and the pelvis. Do it without popping and open your ribs or deviating in your spine. We're not moving the spine, but just lengthen, create space. And then maintain that space, lift up, and we're going to go over to one side. Now you should be like you're between 2 panes of glass right now. Come back up to center, create that space, lift and lengthen. Shoulders don't go up to the ears though. Lift and lengthen and come over to the other side. And you're between 2 panes of glass. You're not pitching or hinging forward. This is just a lateral movement. Come back up to center. Shoulder injuries, stay right here. If your shoulders are feeling okay, you can reach overhead. Go ahead and cross your hands over your head. Your biceps are in line with your ears. Lift and lengthen through the torso and come up and over. So you're already noticed just adding that little bit of extra weight into the lever. Breathe here. Soft bend to the knees here. We're still between 2 panes of glass. We're not rounding or pitching forward. Come back up to center. Lift and lengthen. Come over on the other side. All righty. And make your way back up to center. Most of us are probably working here or here. There might be a few that can tolerate biceps to the ears and hands bound or unbound. And then you're going to come up and over here. This doesn't feel good in your body. Please don't do it. I really don't want you to go somewhere that's not working for you. That's why we have options. Come back up to center, lift and lengthen in the torso. Exhale, up and over. Doing work in the zone that's best for you is way more beneficial than doing work in a place that's not good for you. Just plant and find some rotations. Let the arms swing and feel heavy. Your arms are going to slap against your body. Think about the hands, your hands being this heavy kind of weight on the bottom of this swing, and that heavy weight's just gently tugging at the tissues of your shoulders, maybe the tissues of the, gotcha, Diane. The audio when I did this, got it. Okay, good. We'll come to neutral here. Take your hands, place them on your hips, and toe heel your feet wide. Anytime you do an exercise class and you have to come to this straddle or wide stance, just get there in this, go ahead and toe heel it back in. Having this ability to move and change the width of your stance is a really safe way to do it rather than single leg balance, bam. Okay, that can be a little hard on you. So just toe heel your way, find your straddle stance, ankles are wider than your shoulders or hips, and then turn your toes in a little bit, heels are wide. Last week, we talked about that crown to coccyx alignment, that straight line from the back of the head, the middle of the back, and where your tail would start. So pull your chest forward, think about that flat back, hinge at the hips, pull your hips back behind you, but look how my chest is lifted. It's as if I'm coming closer to the earth, but I really want you to be able to read my t-shirt as I come down. Back of the neck is long, soften the knees. You might feel sensation in the hamstrings. You're also going to feel the core working to pull the heart forward here. Now, here's what I want you to feel. I want you to feel your feet on the ground, feel your heels. Push through your heels, draw your belly button in and squeeze your glutes. Turn them on to come back up. We're going to do some drills for our glutes today. So you might stay right there with your hands on your hips or bring your hands into sphere of tension. So prayer, push into your fingertips and you have this kind of buoyant sphere. And if you draw your elbows down a little bit, you might even feel your lats turn on, which is a great thing to be able to get in touch with. Legs are wide, sphere of tension, hinge your hips back, but the heart is pulling forward. Eye gaze is going to go from the wall in front of you, from the screen. So if you're looking at me on the screen, try to bring your eye gaze out in front of you on the floor now so you can maintain that connect or that alignment. Draw the navel in, knit the ribs together, maybe pull the ribs in like you're zipping up a really tight jacket or dress. Find the heels, push down through the heels, draw the navel in, squeeze the glutes. Maybe you feel your hamstrings to work to come back up. That was probably a little bit more work than resting on the hips. We're going to go one more round. Let me just show you what I want you to stay away from. I don't want to reinforce this pattern. See that rounding of the back? That's not what we're doing. We're not moving at the spine. We're not flexing at the spine. We're staying long and extended in the spine, and the movement is at the hips. My pelvis is tilting forward. Crown to coccyx alignment. One more time. Hands together or on the hips. Long, proud chest. Lift your heart, proud chest. Hinge. Get to the place where you want to work. The shoulders will probably be just slightly higher than the hips here. Soft bend in the knees. Now, start to push your fingertips out in front of you, toward the wall in front of you. And then notice the longer the lever gets, the more the fingers push in front of you, the more you got to draw your navel in, contract your core. Think about zipping up that tight dress, pulling everything in. Breathe here. Bring your sphere of tension back under your body. Nice and slow. Eye gaze toward the floor. Reconnect with the heels. Push down as you lift up, contracting the glutes and contracting the hamstrings. And then toe heel your way back in. You can stand here and do this one, or if you want a little bit extra challenge, you can just come into a chair pose, standing or chair, either one. We're going to reach your arms in front of you, maybe take a little bind with your thumbs, point your fingers, and you're going to round your back. Separate your scapula. We probably have this pattern in our body a lot, but this is going to set us up to feel the opposite motion. So this is your push-up shape in your back, or your reaching shape. Think about reaching for a door. Now separate the hands, pull the elbows, let them brush the rib cage, and then pull the elbows back, but lift them a little bit and tap into your shoulder blades. Feel your scapula, your shoulder blades move together, and then exhale, push. You can stand up to do this, that's fine. Bring your shoulders back. I'm sorry, elbows back, shoulder blades together. Shooting round. And then this is your pulling motion. Pushing motion. And pulling motion. And release it, let it go. Okay, we are going to work on engaging our glutes a little bit. So you can use the back of a chair or a wall. Either one's fine with you. And there'll be a little single leg balance involved here, which is why it's nice to hold on something. So I'm going to, no, let's do this first. Let's do this first. Let's do both legs. Pretend like you have a beach ball between your legs. If you've been with me before, you know this one. And then standing here, squeeze your inner thighs together. So you can't see that I'm doing that, but pretend like I'm going to take the beach ball from between your legs and you're squeezing it. So you see how this inside flesh moves to the midline to do that. So do that. And then as you do that, see if you can turn on your glute muscles, your butt flesh back there, what you sit on. See if you can squeeze that in and make that firm and hard. You can palpate and just touch and see if it's turned on. So we're trying to activate the glutes here. Okay, let all that go. Now we're going to go single leg. So I'm going to put my weight into one leg and I'm going to turn on that glute. So the way I'm going to turn it on, I'm going to pull that inside flesh in. See that little different? I pull it in, and that's going to help me push down through the heel, open up through the hip, and turn that glute on. So see if we can find that. Other leg's kind of inactive. We're just doing one side, and then switch. Switch into the other side. Pull that inside hip in. Let the front of the hip open up. Squeeze your glute, stand tall, and then just switch it out. Just little marches here with your awareness being turning on the glute. All right, so now that our glutes are nice and awake, maybe, or primed, turned on, weight goes into my right leg. I'm sorry, one leg, I don't care. And then the opposite knee lifts, but we don't want to deviate the spine again, all right? So you're going to use your core to bring that leg higher, put it down, switch sides. This is going to work better on the side. Weight goes in the other side, knee comes up. Use my core to lift it higher rather than using my trunk to get the knee closer, right? And then put that opposite leg down, turn on that glute, and then feel a relationship between the glute of the standing leg and the opposite knee rising up. Use the core to lift it. Draw the navel in, and you're off. Keep going. Go at whatever speed works for you, but the slower and more intentional, the better the work. Keep working as I talk to you here. Now, we have this perception that if we did something like this, that this is more work. We're so not connected here. There's just momentum happening there. We're not exploring all of these chances, these opportunities to feel and activate and stabilize. So just a little standing core exercise. And remember, glutes are part of our core. Good. Even yourself out wherever you are here. Finish it up. And we're done there. Okay, we have a couple options. If you have a wall, you can just lean against a wall and do this. If you want to sit in a chair, you can sit in a chair. I'm going to cue it from the wall, though. You're going to put your hips against the wall and your legs out in front of you, your feet on the floor out in front of you. So you're not right up against the wall. And first, we're just going to activate the quads. So place your hands on your quad flesh. Now that space behind your knees, pull that space back to the wall and feel how your quads turn on. You might also feel it as if you're lifting your kneecaps, and just turn them on. Squeeze both quads, get them to fire, get them to work for you. And then you might have to rest for a second, a little bend in the knees, turn them off. And then try that again. Fire your quads, turn them both on. Feel all that nice definition. Draw your navel in to support that work. And then release and turn them off. You can do this from a chair, right? You can sit in your chair. You can turn on your quads right here. You're just activating this connective tissue associated with your knee. This is an isometric hold. This is a strength exercise, okay? So if you have sore knees or you need to strengthen the connective tissue around there, just turn on your quads. Next level, turn on the quads, keep them on, knees are straight, and then lift the toes. Your seat's gonna slide up the floor, wall, not floor. By floor, I mean wall, and lower. You don't wanna bend your knees. You wanna keep the quads turned on as you lift the toes. This can work from your chair. You just put your weight right on your thighs and lift your toes onto your heels. Wait, do I want to do it this way? No, knees will be bent. Yep. We're still getting this anterior tibialis muscle to be activated. All right, 2 or 3 more from the wall, lift and lower. Final one. And then we're going to turn around, bend your knees to come off the wall, come up. We're going to turn around and do the same thing. If you don't have a wall, you can work on the back of a chair. If you're seated in the chair, you can do this. Now we're just lifting and lowering, lifting the heels off the ground. Keep going, even though I'm moving. So what I want to show you here is alignment in the heels. Notice if when the heels lift, you roll to the outside of your feet out of alignment. We don't want to do that. We want to pull our heels, push the big toe mounds into the ground. So big toe mound, piggy toe mound stays on the ground as you lift. And at the top of your lift, go ahead and feel that contraction. Feel the quad, not quad, gastroc and soleus. What are those? Calves. Feel those calf muscles turn on. If you're seated today, you just put as much weight onto your legs and you do it right here from your seat. Let's do about 3 more of those before we move on. If you're seated, go ahead and stand up. If you're on the wall, come to me, meet me right here in the middle of the room, hands on your hips, big juicy hip circles. So take your hips over to the left and then take your hips over to the right. So notice my shoulders are sort of remaining over my ankles, and I'm getting this nice stretch in my, why do the names escape me? My TFL and my whatever. We'll talk about it afterwards. Now, let's make that into a circle. So we were going side to side. Let's take your hips back behind you, come over to the other side, and then take the hips in front. So you're straightening out that space in front, turn on your glutes, side, back, just juicy hip circles. Get as deep as it feels safe for you. So this is one of those exercises you'll see me doing in the grocery line if you ever see me at the grocery store. Yeah, you might turn some heads. People are like, yeah, what are you listening to in your headsets? It's like a book on tape. I'm just doing my big juicy hip circles. Whatever you can do throughout the day, whenever you can sneak time in to do all this little work. Look at that. I can do wrist circles and hip circles. Yeah, just get that movement in. Every time you move the joint, you're hydrating, you're bringing fluid to a joint. So if you don't want to hurt, move. All right, what is next? Opposite glute at tabletop. So we're going to come to tabletop here, but I want to show you. You can make a tabletop shape on the wall. We're going to go into bird dog today. There's your bird dog on the wall. You can make a tabletop shape on your chair. There's your bird dog on your chair. But let me take you through it. So if you're down with getting on the floor with me today, come on down to the floor, tabletop shape. And then as I'm waiting for everybody to make their way down on the floor, start to make biscuits like a cat. You can do this on the wall. You can do this on the seat of your chair. Spread your fingers wide, press the tips of your finger into the floor, and then grip it like you're gripping a basketball. Just another hand strengthening exercise. You're bringing blood flow. Diane, you mentioned your arthritic fingers. It's a really nice exercise to bring blood flow to the fingers. Come to stillness here. If you need to pad your knees, bring in a blanket, a towel, or some kind of padding under the knees. Take your left shin, press it into the floor, and send your right leg long, toes down. So our toes are on the floor. I'll show you what this looks like on the wall, or maybe you can figure it out in a chair. Just stepping your leg back and then working the fold of the foot, lifting and lowering the heel. All right, we're just getting some movement in the ankle, lifting and lowering in the heel. Now press through that left shin a little bit more and lift your leg up off the ground. Now, do I want you to lift it way high? No, look at my spine, look at what happens. I don't want the heel higher than the hip. And then the other thing that tends to happen is we tend to open our hip to find stability. So draw that front part of the hip back down to the floor so you're in alignment. Bring your knee back down to the ground and rest. So that's where we're going. Let's try it again. Right leg reaches back, push through your left shin more to support the right leg reaching back. That space behind the knee, explore it. Turn on your quad just like we did in standing. Notice I'm pushing through the heels. My ankle is dorsiflex, toes towards the shin. Now, without moving the spine at all, pull the knee under you. Only go as far as you can go, and then take it long. Yep, we've already done this. We're just doing it in a different orientation. Pull the knee under, take the leg long. Notice, I'm going to do it wrong this time. I'm not moving my spine in order to get my knee anywhere new. I'm just exploring this range of motion. Final time, take a rest here. Come off your palms a little bit by sending your hips back. Notice that takes the pressure off your palms. And then you can come forward. As I've mentioned before, fists for wrists, always an option in this work. Or if you have yoga blocks or similar sized cookbooks, you can work right on your forearms. You don't have to be on your wrists at all. This movement is just getting your shoulders and hips to communicate with each other. Okay? Good. Now, other side, right shin goes down on the floor, left leg reaches long, push through the heel, peel the heel up. Push through the heel, peel it up. Feel the big toe mount and piggy toe mount of the foot, activating, pause, push through the shin that's down, lift that back leg. Right away, dial the front of the hip down so that if you put a serving tray on your back, you're not going to spill any drinks. If that hip is open, no, well, that's pretty sticky black, but it's going to fall off. So I'm going to dial that hip down, explore the space behind the knee, and then draw the knee under. Spine stays nice and long. Your eye gaze is down at the mat, in front of the fingers. Back of the neck is long. Crown to coccyx alignment is still what we want to try to achieve here. Left leg reaches long one final time. Left knee comes down to the mat. Just start to make some circles. Just getting the wrists exposed to different movements in your circles. Cool. Now, we're going to rest for a second. 2 weeks ago, somebody asked me about a side plank modification, and it occurred to me last night, this is what you're asking about. We're going to go into our side plank here. You can try to mimic this on the wall or just stay with me. We'll work with the people on tabletop. I'm going to take my right shin and I'm going to pivot the shin off the floor. So my knee doesn't move, it's a pivot. And then I'll put the hand that's on the same side of the body in with it, but the opposite leg is going to reach down so that I make a line. And for me, I'm perpendicular with my mat. And I'm going to grab my bottom rib and rotate. So it's going to look like this. I'm going to rotate into this side plank shape. All right. So I'm not leaking energy. I'm pulling this top rib up to the ceiling. My navel is engaged and my wrist is right under my shoulder. I can keep my hand here or I can reach it up, but you want to have a healthy shoulder to do that. Your hand can be behind your head, wherever it feels good. This arm shouldn't be leaking energy, right? You want to push the ground away Remember how we did that reach in your pull? You're reaching, your scapula is pushing away from the midline. Maybe this top leg lifts. You don't have to do that, but you can play with that. Really turn on this glute. If you're lifting your top leg, draw your navel in. Put your foot back down on the ground. Bring your top hand back down to the floor. Bring your knee back down and then pivot your foot back. We'll take this on the other side. Opposite side's going to pivot out. Leg is going to reach long so that on this side of the body, the hand, the knee, and the opposite leg are all in alignment. Don't skip the step. Don't skip the step of rotating the rib cage. That's a really important step. And then this opposite arm can reach up. It can go behind the head. It can stay low, whatever you want. Feel that contraction, lifting that tissue up on the underside. And then if you want, raise that top leg. Now that's going to feel like a bit of a challenge. So push into the bottom shin and push out of this leg's heel. There's that relationship between the heel and the glute. Keep rotated, my friends. 3, 2, 1. Top foot rests. Hand goes back down on the floor. Come back into your tabletop. If you're on the floor and you're comfortable sitting on the floor, go ahead and come to your shin box prep. If you'd rather work in a chair for shin box prep, go ahead and sit in a chair. Try to come to the edge of your chair. And it's not going to be such a ladylike position. Your shoulder's going to be back a little bit. Not ladylike, just formal. You're not going to be too formal in your chair. I'm going to cue it from the floor though. So on the floor, your hands are back behind you. And what's important with chair or floor is that our pelvis doesn't move. That's why we want both sits bones on the earth. You're going to pick one knee and start to move it internally. Just go your range of motion. Now, my pelvis is still because there's 2 points of contact. If I were to go further and peel up my hip, it's not my internal rotation that's going further, it's my pelvis that's moving. So we're trying to explore the internal rotation of your femur head and your hip socket. So just play in the zone that's comfortable for you, never any pain. You can totally explore this from a chair. And then notice how my outside edge of the foot is coming up off the ground to give me a little bit more range of motion. Come to stillness here, and then just find it on the other side. Now, I think at the week 1, if this is your 3rd week with me, I want you to tell me at the end of 8 weeks if you notice some mobility, some improvement in your hips from doing this work. And we're going to add on. Every 2 weeks, we're going to add on. So this week, we're going to add on. All right, come to stillness here. Let's take both knees now. And we're going to go that direction. So both knees are going to go. Now, your hip might come up off the floor, and then you might bring your shoulder over your hips. Don't get up. Stay there. This can move. You shouldn't have sharp pain in your knees. If you have to just go right here and keep your weight in your hands, that's fine. Get to a place that works for you. If you're in a chair, you're just finding internal rotation, external rotation in your chair. Good. Bring your knees back up to center and then drop them over to the other side. You might keep your weight in your hands. That'll take the pressure out of the knees. If you want to explore and take the shoulders over the hips and explore this, you can. We're all in different places. To change sides, lean back into your hands again, lift the knees, drop them. Maybe bring your shoulders over your hips for more pressure, maybe not. To switch sides, lean back, knees come up, knees go over. Please work in the place that's most beneficial for you. And then bring the knees back up to center. How are we doing on time? Oh, we have so much time. That's great. Let's move to bridge pose. Yeah, no. We're going to do get-ups. I did these 2 weeks ago. I don't know if you guys like these or not. I'm going to cue them a lot faster than I did 2 weeks ago. So you're going to come down to the ground. You can do this in a chair. I'll demo it in a minute. This is what we did. We took our right arm and we reached it across our body and toward the outside of our left knee, and then peeled up our shoulder and head off the ground. A lot of people said this was sore on their neck. I think I just want to move quicker. So just roll back down, reach, try not to jerk up, try to peel up and then go right back down. So the goal in this, if you want to pause and look at me, is I'm not doing that. I'm not doing this violent thing. I'm just reaching across, my shoulder peels, back of my head peels, I reach, and then I'm back down on the ground. If you're in a chair, you can just play with reaching in a chair. So you're getting this rotational element and you're pushing into this opposite hand as if you're going to get up out of the chair. Let's switch sides. So if you're on the ground, opposite arm reaches across, you're reaching to the outside edge of the opposite knee. Try not to strain in the neck. Think about working more. Remember that, pause for a second. Remember we talked about the relationship between the bottom ribs and the hips and how we wanted to keep that long. Now we want to do the opposite. As we reach, we want to crunch, bring the rib to the hip and let that pull your shoulder and head up. If your neck is getting sore, just stop. Maybe consider the chair, or maybe just don't go for so long. All right, and pause. We're going to talk about this after class. I want you to take some notes because I want to ask how this is for you. It's the first time I've really ever tried this before. Now, we're going to go back to the original arm. Opposite elbow is in the ground. We're going back to the original arm. For me, it's my right arm. I'm going to reach across, drop the knee, and push into that elbow. Now, if you're up on your hips, you're going to round your spine. So it's like you're doing a crunch. Bring your rib cage to your hips. Use your core, lower down, and the knees go back up. We'll try it again. Reach across your body, head lifts, knees drop, drive into that elbow. I'm also pushing into that opposite heel, and I'm coming up. Then I'm going to do a crunch, use my core, knees come up to balance as I go back down. One more time on this side. As my knees drop, I'm pushing into the foot of the same side of the hand that I'm reaching across. Hand reaches across, it's my right hand, knees drop, drive into left elbow, push into right foot, come up on my side body, crunch, core, back down to the ground. If you're doing this with me in the chair, you're just reaching across and standing up, pushing into your arm. Let's try it on the opposite side. Knees are bent. Right elbow down into the earth, left arm reaches across, knees drop, push into opposite foot, and sit up. Crunch, crunch, and come back down. I think I'm going to hit my head on the chair. Yep, I am. And then we'll try that again. Reach across, drop knees, push into elbow, opposite foot. Now you might have to change where your elbow is in relationship to your body to optimize your most efficient path for pushing up off the ground. But that's the key word here, is we're pushing up off the ground. Final time, crunch, hips go back down, and we're back down on the ground. Let's meet here on the ground. If you're in the chair, just stay seated in the chair with your feet in front of you. We're going to go right into bridges, arms down along the side, hips lift up, and come back down. By the way, I'm looking at the screen, but what I want you to do is look at the ceiling, keep your neck nice in alignment. So that way, as you push up, as the weight transfers back accidentally to your neck, you really want to be in your shoulder blades here, but if it does transfer to your neck, you're not looking around the room, moving your neck with weight on it. Lower the hips back down. Keep working on pressing the hips up. Remember that beach ball we squeezed at the beginning of class? Squeeze that a little bit as you press up. Feel the glutes turn on, lower down. If you're in a chair today, you are pushing off the chair, standing up tall, sitting back, coming back down to your chair, pushing up off your chair. You're doing chair squats, coming back down off your chair. Arms or no arms, you might use arms to press up, or you might keep your arms out in front of you. If you're on the ground doing your bridges, let's go for 3. If you're in the chair, you stay in the chair. And 2. And 1. All right, if you're in a chair, sit in the chair. If you're on the ground, you can roll over to your side and press up, which is a little bit of a shortcut from the other way we did it. You can stay right here on the floor if this is a comfortable spot for you, or you can just pop up into your chair. You're just going to take your right ear and bring it down towards your right shoulder. Shoulders are relaxed. Your left jaw is going to pull up. And then we're going to switch. Chin comes down, left ear to left shoulder. And then you're pulling up on this opposite side, getting this nice stretch here. You could even gently draw the shoulder down to feel that sensation. My ear's not touching my shoulder, and it doesn't benefit me to make it touch, right? So just relax the shoulders, chin down, right ear, right shoulder. So it's that lateral flexion again. So as if we're working between 2 panes of glass. So I'm not bringing my chin to my chest here. I do when I come out of it a little bit, but when I go over to the other side, chin down and switch. And then come back to center. Final activity, you can brace onto your knees or brace onto the side of your chair. Just going to find a little rotation in the neck. So just rotate your eye gaze over your opposite shoulder. Continue to breathe. Come back to the center. Now we can be confused between flexion and rotation. So if you want to have a little reminder, pretend like your head's on a little table and you're just rotating it. The relationship of the chin to the chest doesn't change. Now your eye gaze is over your opposite shoulder. Breathe into this shape. Always take a breath into your shapes. Never want to hold your breath to get to a shape, and then come back to center one more time. Eye gaze is over one shoulder. Breathe in. Exhale. Come back to center. Eye gaze over the other shoulder. And back to center. I do have one final stretch for you I want to do real quick. I'm going to squeeze it in here. If you're on the ground, this is kind of a big one, so we'll just see. You're going to put your hands back and maybe cross. I don't know, maybe. If you need a wall or a couch, maybe you can do it there. If you can't cross, just find a place where you can, but if you can bring it above your knee, then this bottom leg is just going to keep coming in deeper and deeper, and you're going to get a deeper stretch. If you're in a chair, you're going to bring it across. Maybe that's enough. Maybe just getting this leg to a place where you can get that external rotation in the hip, maybe that's just enough for you. But if you can get that hip into external rotation, you're going to get nice and long through the spine, and then bring your chest, remember, crown to coccyx alignment, bring your chest forward. And you get a nice juicy stretch in the hip. If you're on the floor and you have a chair available, this is optimal, this chair stretch that I'm doing now. If you want to just stay on the floor though, I gave you those alternatives just to cross the leg and bring the foot in. And then bring yourself back up, uncross your leg. I'd like to spend more time unpacking this one, but I just wanted to introduce it this week. Opposite leg crosses. Find what works for you. And then notice, if you haven't done this in a long time and you're like, bing, 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 like, you know, light bulbs are going off in this shape, just stay right here this week. And then try this a few more times in the next couple of weeks, and then you can take it deeper. All right, maybe this is a lot. This is feeling okay. You want to take it a little deeper, long trunk, And then bring your chest. Remember, we're not rounding in the spine, proud chest. Bring your chest towards your knee. And you're gonna feel sensation pretty darn soon. Also, a little reminder, I'm dorsiflexing this ankle. So the cross leg ankle, my toes are actively reaching back to my shin. And that just keeps activation in the knee. So the knee doesn't get all wonky on this. And then press yourself back up, uncross your legs. That's it for today. It's a pleasure and honor to hang out with you guys. Thanks for coming today. Bye-bye.